Tony Pollard, who had 193 rush attempts, 1,007 yards, 9 touchdowns, 39 receptions, 55 targets, 371 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Thoughts on Tony Pollard?
Obviously, no Zeke in town, so you're going to see Pollard get a little bit more run. I think 280 touches is kind of where I see this going, right? So you're going to see some more rush attempts. Maybe you get up to, 230 rush attempts or so, 50 receptions, something like that. And he's going to kind of be off and running. I don't know. I'm not sold that he's going to have everything come his way like Zeke did for so long, right? Like, I want to see how this is going to get balanced out. There's not a whole lot behind him, though. So if you want to take your stab here at Tony Pollard, he's a decent RB2 option, right? Like, that would be one of those guys for our last scenario, right? Like, if Tony Pollard's your RB2, you have Eckler, Tony Pollard, and you're looking at J.K. Dobbins. I'm okay with that. Like, that's not a bad running back room. You can feel good about that. You have your premium A-plus player. You have your, RB2 with some upside to kind of be dynamic for that team. And then you have your flex wide receiver or your flex running back who honestly has probably higher upside than Tony Pollard does, just because of how the offenses are going to sort out. So he's good receiving out of the backfield. He looked better than Zeke last year. He looked more explosive. He was able to cut. He's able to get into the end zone, all these things. So I think you can draft Pollard as your RB2 and feel good about it. But I think you're definitely going to want at least a little bit of firepower coming behind him, whether it's your flex spot or your first 2 running back spots coming off the bench.
And this is one of those that I've been kind of racking my brain all off season trying to figure out what to make of what this Dallas offense is going to look like, right? Like, McCarthy was very adamant that they want to run the ball more. They want to, control the clock, time of possession. You hired the offensive coordinator that's their MO, right? Like, Brian Schottenheimer, they run the ball a ton in Brian Schottenheimer offense. The pass attempts are usually in the bottom half to bottom quarter of the league as far as pass attempts go, but the rushing attempts tend to was a top 10 rush attempt offense. I think that can do some very good things for Tony Pollard when it comes to a fantasy production, things like that. But Tony Pollard, where we've seen him put up big fantasy plays and big fantasy relevance there, hasn't been because of the volume play. Like, he's never been the volume guy. So that's one of those that does concern me a little bit there. He's an efficient back. Like, he's got to get that 5+, that 5.2 to 5.5 yards a carry on that one. And that's tough to do when you're carrying the ball 300 times. Much easier to do when you're carrying the ball 200 times. So I don't know how that one's going to look and go. And I just don't know that Tony Pollard is a guy that I want to trust my fantasy season on, for him to have to carry the ball 300 times to it. So this could be one of those that we see a lot more running back by committee on this than I think a lot of people are hoping. And quite frankly, where he's getting drafted at is RB 7. No, thank you. I will go other routes there.